Okay, welcome to Q Talk, guys. My name is Marvelous Achafu. So today we'll be discussing a very sensitive topic, a topic that we always talk about at LGBT gatherings, at support groups, at various places. We always talk about it, but we want to talk about it now. Setup and KITOES. So I have two gentlemen who will be doing justice to this topic. I have Chiemeze Henry, who is a documentary filmmaker, a minister, and a human rights activist. Thank you, Henry, for joining us.
Thank you, Marvelous.
Okay, and we also have Street Francis, a writer, chef, a runway coach, and an interesting person, fun-loving guy with a good sense of humor, and he has a very good basic skill. And his basic skill, his best basic skill is communication. Thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you.
So, Henry,
Marvelous.
I would like to start with you. You said first of all, you said you have a keto story to share. Please, can you kindly share that with us? What is your keto experience because now you no longer stay in Nigeria, you're over there in Toronto. But when you were
Yes,
in Nigeria, can you please share your keto experience with us?
sure, definitely. So before I left Nigeria in 2013, in 2012, I was talking to this guy. His name is Kelvin, and we were talking for a long time. When I mean a long time, it was like getting to 2 months or even 3 months talking, and we had like conversation, text messages, even phone sex. So there was nothing that literally gave me like a red flag. I know I was young then, but I was very, 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 very safe when visiting people because I don't really visit people because of the kind of house I grew up in. So after so much, investment in that relationship, I felt it was high time for me to go see this person I've been talking to. So on that fateful day, I went to, a place in River State called LMA. And then when I got there, I met him. But the thing that surprised me was that he had these friends, two boys and this girl. They were just sitting down drinking some drinks. So I was like, okay, there's nothing. So he welcomed me into his home, and he offered me a chair, and I sat down. And I was like, oh, don't worry, let me send my friend off, and I will start talking. So I was like, okay, cool. So he went, sent them off. I literally saw them walk away, and then he locked the door. I saw him lock the door. And then we started talking, and he started being, romantic with me. And then into it, I noticed from behind somebody just came and slapped me. And I saw stars. I was like, Jesus, what is this? So I saw the stars in my face. So the thing that baffled me was even when we were like into that romantic situation, he had an erection and everything. So there was no red flag. But when the person slapped me now and I saw the star, then that was when I realized that this is beyond what I have bargained for. But smart me that day, I didn't take out my expensive guardians and I just took only my bag and my wallet and my books because I wanted to go to school from his place to go back to school. And then when that incident happened, he began to slap me. Then I noticed that the door had opened. The friend he claimed had left came back with the girl. The girl had the phone in her hand. She was recording it. The other boy had a cutlass. So he used the machete to whip me. That was the very first time anybody have ever beat me before. So he used the machete to whip me. They kept on beating me. Then they stripped me naked and they began to ask me questions. They began to question me. At the end of the whole day, because it was Eleme, there was a river by the place the boy was, the Eleme River. So they said they were going to kill me and they were going to throw me into that lagoon. Then I started crying. So they were like, okay, they started questioning who my parents were. And luckily for me, the only saving grace I had was that at that time my grandfather was still alive and I was not from that town. So I was from the neighboring town, even in River State, you're getting. Just for security reason, I don't want to mention the place. But I was from the neighboring town and my grandfather happened to be a paramount ruler. So I began to tell them, see, if you kill me, people know where I was going to. And blah blah blah. at the end of the whole day, there will be a riot because I'm not from here. And if you people do this, this is what will happen. So the second guy who was with them then explained himself and said he was an officer. So he asked me the name of my grandfather. Then I mentioned the name of my grandfather. Then he asked me for the name of his children because I think he happened to know who my grandfather was. Then I mentioned the names of my uncle. And then that was the only saving grace. They still took my phone, they still took my wallet, but they let me go because those
Wow.
boys were really, really determined to strip me naked, walk me around the street of Eleme, and still throw me into that lagoon. That was the that was the most horrible thing that has ever happened to me. And to crown the whole matter was that I couldn't even tell my mother when I went home because she kept on asking me what happened to me. I just told her that I was robbed. Till today, my mother thought I was robbed. But that was the truth behind. And after that incident, I just wanted to leave Nigeria for good.
Oh, wow. That is a very touching topic. That is a very touching story, rather. So,
Awesome.
Francis, I would also like to ask
Yeah.
you. You also have a keto story. It's surprising how
Mm,
people, and you now currently stay in Morocco, right? Or you schooled there?
yeah.
Yeah, I'm surprised. So how did yours happen?
Um, okay, it was back then in secondary school, the boarding school life and all those things. But though, I would say that mine was a minor case because the guy was just interested in, the money. Like he was demanding money and was like, if you don't give me money, I will expose you. I will go to the school. I will tell them that you're gay and this is what you've been doing and all that. So I kept on giving him money and to at a certain point I had to quit. I walk up to him and I'm like, dude, you know what? If you want to expose me, if you want to tell the guy then cancel, or go ahead and do it because I'm tired. I can't give you money anymore and I can't continue this whole threat of a thing. Then after that, he actually back off for a while, not knowing that he actually laid another plan for me. And then this one happened outside the school. I went to visit a friend of mine who happens to live in the same compound with this dude. So after I went in and then I've been there and we had our time and our moment. And then on my way leaving, this dude, that's my classmate then, he came out and he was like, yo, I know what you guys were doing in there. I know you guys were having sex and all that, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, dude, look, this is not school. Like you can't bring what happened in school here because this is outside the school campus. So I don't get what you're saying. So he kind of, threatened that, okay, he's going to involve the youth. They're going to do this village shit that they normally use palm front and then tie somebody around and then take you naked around the village. So I was very scared and I had to tell him, okay, what do you want? He was like, first of all, I should give him my phone. I gave him my phone and then, yeah, that was just it. And then he asked me for 5,000 naira back then. So I gave him the 5,000 naira before he could even realize what was happening. I left village. So that was how I escaped that incident. And ever since then, I've not been keto.
That was touching stories. So let me just share my keto story very briefly. So I've been keto too. Okay, this happened in was it 2017? Yes, 2017 around November period. So I went to visit a friend, and then visiting my friend, and I came on Badu, an app on Badu, and then I was chatting someone. And then the person said, oh, where are you at? I said, I'm at Ikotun. He said, it's at Iyanova. Can we meet? And I said, oh, fine. So we can meet. He said, let's meet at a bar. Because I said, I don't want to visit. I don't feel like visiting people because it's like a new place. And I don't trust anybody. They said, no, let's meet at a bar. And I said, okay, no problem. And I took a bus, took a bike, went there. It was actually even a bar. And then when I came there, I met one person, and before you know, there were about 7 people that were around. This was a bar. This was not someone's house. They took my phone, took my drive me, put it on another bike again. Then took me to another location, like a bushy area. And it's okay, this is what they will do now. That either I tell my family or tell my people, because they went through my phone, saw my contact, they saw the kind of like things I was there. I was looking for an NGO. So I said, NGO people, they have money. They will pay. Nobody then they meet white people. Nobody then they. So they said, okay, I have to pay them huge amounts of money. And I said, no. NGO that I'm working for, you guys not even did not ask me about my position. That what is my position at the NGO? So they demanded money. In the end, I was able to give them only 10K. So it was only 10,000 I had. Check my account balance. It was 0. So I had to call somebody to transfer money to me. So that's the thing. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah. So I had to
Sorry.
transfer. I had to call them to transfer to call somebody to transfer money to them, and that was how they let me go. I think I was held down from around 2 p.m. till around to 8 past 8 sha. That's when I was let go. So which brings me to my next question now. Why are KITOES in Nigeria, especially in Nigeria, having a field day? They go, they set people up on a daily basis. Even I saw about 2 phones. I saw an iPhone and I saw a Lenovo with them. Said they are set 2 people up before me. So why are they just having a field day in Nigeria? What is making them just have this field day, setting them people up? Nobody is stopping them. Why? What can you say is the major cause of this in Nigeria? Henry, I would like to start with you.
For me, I feel it's because of the government we have. I will still blame it on the government because where the head is bad, everything tends to be bad, and because of the legalization of being queer in Nigeria, so they feel that's a source of income for them because of the poverty rate in Nigeria. Because most of the people who keto people, from my own experience, speaking from that, I feel is those who have been ketoed before. So the pain too of what they've gone through, because most of the people who actually keto the
Yeah.
communities are even LGBTQ members themselves. And because of the pain of what they've gone through, or because of them having the same experiences you're getting of being ketoed, most of them try to release that anger back to the community. Hello? Are you there?
Hello?
Yes.
Yeah, we're here.
Oh, so okay, I would like to ask a follow-up question. That is to Francis. So Francis, please, can you kindly tilt your camera?
But I should
Just
turn it.
yeah, your phone. Yes, turn it.
This way.
Yes, thank you. That's better. That's better. So, Francis, I would like to ask you, how do you know if someone is a keto? Like you were here in Nigeria, what are the signs? What can you say are the signs that shows you that someone is a keto?
The signs. Okay. Speaking from my own personal experience, I would say that when you see a keto, you will know definitely, because there are some certain things. There are some gay slangs like most ketos don't know. You get it? There are some gay slangs most ketos don't know, and when you see a keto, probably like most of them are just they just want to meet you. Like most of them, they normally send out invitations, like they pressurize you, when are we meeting, when are we seeing, and all that. So I think with that qualification of this thing for you to be keto.
So, I would just like to say something. Just add to what you guys have said. I feel over here in Nigeria, I feel the number one way people can actually know a keto is if you are going to meet that person in the location. Like let's say for example, you are going to meet someone at Ikorodu, share the person's picture to people at Ikorodu, if possible 7 or 5 people. Share the picture. It's not possible for someone to be in a location, at least before you want to even have fun with people outside your environment, you must have had fun with 1 or 2 people around your area. If you share the person's picture and like out of 7 people, 2 people or 3 people cannot confirm that person is obviously fake. It's obviously a keto. You want to do something outside and you've not done something with people around your environment, it's not possible now. So if you are going to any location, if it's Aja, share the picture to people in Aja. You will not be ashamed that you don't want people to say that you are going to buy market, you are going to have fun. You should share the person's picture. Let people be able to tell you that okay, this person is real, or no, this person is fake, or I don't know this person, and that is how you should be able to confirm. Another question I would like to ask Henry. I know somebody, a friend of mine, who was ketoed last year, 2020, 4 times. There is a lockdown on ground, but this
Yeah.
person was ketoed 4 times. So I want to ask, is it not, some people say it's because community members, they like to walk up and down. People that enter into keto traps are those that like walking up and down. They like to walk out, they don't like to stay in one place. They're always running from, imagine somebody going all the way from Ikorodu to Aja just to have fun. And they wonder like, why can't you have fun around? You are going all the way from Ikorodu to Aja just to visit someone. You are bound to meet a keto person now. So do you really agree with those people that say that, oh, those that actually walk up and down are the ones that anybody, like what they say people say they waka waka, now they see how Yorubas will say, they say ento wa wakuwa lo mari yukuri. You wey dey waka up and down, they find something up and down. You are the ones that is bound to meet something that you are not meant to see. So do you agree with that thing?
No, to be honest, I do not agree with someone being, adventurous. Everybody has like a stage in their life where they want to just, explore their sexual desires and stuff like that. But the only thing I would say is just be careful. If you're going to go visit people, like you say, just be careful, share their pictures, take the measures, take the precautions that need to be taken before you go visit people. Because even myself, I wasn't like walking about when I was keto. I took my time. It took months. We
Mhm.
had a conversation, and I still fell into the trap. So being ketoed is just something that can happen to anybody. If you're walking about, or you're
Anybody.
just in your father's house, or you're just in your house, or you're just decent. So I think we should not look for where to shift the blame, because like for me, many years I blamed myself. I was like, okay, maybe if I had not gone to visit this person, this wouldn't have happened. Maybe if I had done this or that. So the thing is, we should not try to shift the blame on the victim. Do you remember, we are the victims of the situation? We are the ones that were beaten. We were the ones that our valuables were stolen from. So instead of you shifting the blame to us, the victims, we should really address the issue, which is one, the homophobic mindset and mentality of the people in Nigeria. And the funny thing is that most of the people with these homophobic ideas are even the people who claim to be from a place or a religion of love. You're getting? So I think it's high time we stop blame shifting and say the truth. The mindset of the people have to change. They have to see us as humans. We can't be fighting something that we are becoming. That is all I can say.
That's nice. That was a good one. So, Francis, I would like to ask you a question. Do you
Okay.
feel that the LGBT community are just weak? And when I say weak, you see a particular person, maybe somebody that is very, very muscular, that has power, like probably even the power of Samson in the LGBTQI community, but we get killed by one lanky small guy. Just when the person just say, you are gay, and they will start fearing, and before you know, they are shivering and they are afraid. And then they submit this thing. And I want to also ask people that some of them even have power, some even learn self-defense, but they are not using it. Once they don't say that they are gay or they are, and they become so cold, don't feel that it's high time for LGBTQI community members to take laws into their own hands. Like they should come together. Okay, fine. No, this person is a kid to Abi. We'll come together. Maybe create like a kind of group, a support group together. Look for how to trace that person, like catch the person and beat the person up. Are they just going to be? Don't you feel like they are not willing to unite to actually tackle this keto issue?
Okay, thank you for the question. Like Henry said earlier on, it's not all about the physical appearance or maybe the physical body structure or anything. But then, the government there, the law is already there, and you know what the law says. So the fear is already in us. Like people have that fear, and whereby the society find this thing as something which is an abomination. Definitely, no matter how strong you are, if you get if you find yourself in a situation whereby you're being ketoed, like definitely you will feel very vulnerable to anything. You get that kind of a thing. So, and again, when it comes to like us, the LGBT community coming together to fight over the keto people. If you ask me, I would say that the Western LGBT, that's the Western community of LGBT, I would say that we are not united, because most of us thinks all this thing is all about competition, because there is no unity in us. even if, okay, there are a few people that will be like, okay, yes, we're in for this, let's fight for this. Definitely there will be ones that will be like, okay, no, we are not going for this. You get that kind of a thing. And again, the fear is already there. So, but I believe that for us to overcome this and for us to, overcome this keto and everything, we need to love ourselves first. Because if you don't love yourself, there's no way you love another person. And if you ask me, most people who get ketoed or most people who keto people are people who have experienced it before, like Henry said too. You get it? So they intend to do it back as, to get revenge of what happened to them.
Okay, that's a good one. But I would still like to
Can
insist
I
that
just
I do
add?
not be okay. Okay, you can add something. Add. Anyway, you can
Yeah,
add.
when you talk about when someone who doesn't have the physical structure keto you, we need to first realize that when before anybody gets keto, it doesn't just happen. It is a very planned situation. So because of that idea that this thing has been planned, so the fear comes upon so many people. Because in a situation where the person you're meeting may be lanky, you don't know how many boys are backing him up. You don't know who is going to show up. You don't know the next action they are going to take. So it is very, very wise to be very precautious, even in a situation. That is why when they just come out and say, "Oh, you're gay," it kills something in us. And again, I want to talk about like realizing or coming to the full potential of your sexuality has been very difficult for me myself. So anytime somebody says, "Are you gay?" Even though that I've come to that full like, yes, I am homosexual, but even today, when they ask me, "Are you gay?" sometimes that fear that society has engraved in us still kills something in us. So many people haven't come to a place where they can accept their sexuality. So that is why when the opportunity of it being exposed comes out, because it's been a secret for a long time, and anything that is a secret has a hold over you. So I feel the first thing we need to do as a community is we need to come to the place where we can embrace our sexuality. How many people still see their sexuality as a sin? How many people have come to the full realization that being homosexual is not a sin, is not a devil being possessed, but it's in the DNA? So there are so many factors that makes that fight really not visible right now.
Wow, that's it. But I still feel like yes, you guys spoke really well, but there's something I still see. Like we are not battling. Like I told one of my friends, he too gave the excuse that it's because of the government. It's the government that is making everybody ketos have a few day. But I said we are not actually facing the government. Who we are facing are these keto guys. They are non-government officials. State actors have their own part to play, like the police, the army, the military, the system, the government in general. They have their part, but mostly these ketos they are nowhere connected to the government or nowhere connected to. They are just group of people, jobless group of people, evil group of people that want to pick on community members and feel like they are their ATMs trying to make money off us. So it's up to us to unite and say no, you have had enough of your few days. It is the right time that we now come together and chase these people out and to just render this thing, this blackmail, this epidemic blackmail that is moving everywhere now, just that we are the ones that have to put a stop to it. And it's also becoming a trend now. I would like to ask that question to you, Henry. That is becoming a trend where community members are now ketoing fellow community members. It's happening all over. There is someone at Yaba also. They call him Shegun Oni or Shegun Two Church. Sorry, Shegun Two Church. That's what they call him. That guy goes about with a hanky. He comes to your house, he sleeps with you, then he uses his hanky to touch you on your face. When he touches you with that hanky on your face, you can sleep from now to 2 days later. You will continue sleep, endless sleep, like as if you are sleeping beauty. This guy now, he's a community member, having sex, going about to have sex with fellow community members, but stealing from them. When he touches you with the hanky, I think it's voodoo or something that he uses. When he touches you with the hanky, then you sleep over till when he takes all the property in your house, takes whatever he wants to take in your house, and you can wake up the next day. Imagine, this is a community member. It has gotten to that stage. Some even go to people's side, they call it knockout. Fellow community members, they lock you in the bedroom or they add some maybe a sleeping pill in your food and make you sleep off till for a long time. These are community members. It has now become like a business on its own, like a lucrative, like a sector that is busy operating. So how can we put an end to this? It is not something that is not becoming. It's something that we have to look for different ways to put an end to it. So Henry, what would be the way to put an end to it, to make this thing like let's even start with community members. How can we stop community members, fellow community members, from kitoing community members like them?
This is the first thing I would say. The first thing is we as community members, we need to get to the point where we love each other. Being homosexual, being queer does not mean we are on a competition. We are not on a competition with anybody. Until we as LGBTQ members stop being the enemies of ourselves, because the hatred from within the community is more than the hatred from even outside. And most times, the people who get set up are set up by community members. So we need to come to the place where we love each other. And that still goes back to what I talked about. We've not come to fully embracing who we truly are. And because of that reflection, because if you hate yourself, you can't love another person. So that is the truth. So until we come to the place where we fully understand that this is who I am, I love myself, I love my sexuality, we come to love ourselves, then that love will be able to spread, just as hatred too can spread. So the only thing I can say to the LGBTQ community is we need to come to love each other. And we should stop doing this fake love of a thing we do, where we only come together when there is a, humiliation or there is a crisis in the community. That should not be what that binds us as a people.
Yeah,
What binds us as a people, yeah, what should bind us as a people is not even our sexuality, but what should bind us as individuals um should be the love that flows from us. What should bind us as individuals should be seeing the next person and saying, I know what you're going through. I understand your struggle. I just want to help you live, because life itself is already hard for us being black, hard for us being Christians or being religious, hard for us also being LGBTQ members. So we should not be the enemies from within too. So until we come to that place where we can truly love people not because of where they are or what they have or who they are in society. Sorry, give me a minute. Until we come to that place where we love people for who they truly are, not their possession, not what they have. I think that is the first step to take to, resolving these issues.
That's a nice one. So, Francis, I would like to
Yep.
ask a question, but you are not a psychologist. I
Okay.
don't think any of us here is a psychologist, but I would just like to ask the question
No,
first.
that's not.
What do you feel? I don't know, Kito might end up watching this episode. So I would like to just ask you as a person. I would ask Henry the same question, but I would like to start with you. How does being set up damage a LGBTQI, a person, like a community member's psychology? How does it damage their mental health? A keto might end up watching, so I would like you to just say, like, how do you feel? How, when you were keto, how did you feel? Like, what happened? Look, just like you follow, how much damage does keto do on LGBTQI community members' psychological health?
Can you rephrase your question again?
Okay, I said, if you are being set up or being ketoed, what does keto
Yeah.
set up? What does it do to a community member's psychological health? You have been ketoed. Both three of us here has been ketoed. So I would like to ask you the
Yep.
question. I will still ask Henry the same question too, but I would like to start with you. Like, what does it do? Like, how did it affect your mental health? Like, how does it affect community members' mental health?
Yeah, it affected me in so many ways actually. At some point I was depressed. I felt different because I was like, okay, just because I'm this, and that's why I received threat from somebody. You get it? So I felt different, and then it affects a lot because you have this hatred in you. Like, let me say, okay, throughout my stay in Nigeria, I had this hatred in me, and I was just living. Let's just say I was just living this life of this two-faced life that I project what I want you to see about me is what I project to you because of the discrimination and the society we are in. Well, ever since I came to Morocco and then I got my sexual orientation and I learned how to love myself more and how to put myself first in some things, I realized that if I could change back time, then like there are a lot of things I needed to change because like the thing there is just we just need to love. That's just it. The love.
That's so, Henry. Can you react to
Yes.
that? Like, what does being keto? Because a keto might end up watching this episode, so I want them to actually know what it does to a community member's psychological health, like the mental health of an LGBT. Like, how do you feel after you were ketoed?
For me personally, I felt devastated. I felt depressed. I felt humiliated. Like everything in me died, to be honest. Everything in me died. Knowing that I couldn't even speak to nobody about that situation was even what killed me the more, because every day I thought about it, it just engraved in one part of my brain. And the only way for me to let go of that pain was to forget. And which has made me now, people ask me, why do you have like a short term memory? It got to a point where I began to even forget important things because I was trying to forget one thing. So it does a lot to the psychological being of anyone, you're guessing. And to be very honest, every time I think about it, I just feel why why was I even, born that way? But I had to get to a point where I had to learn to forgive myself and understand that I was the victim of the whole situation. I had to come to a place where I I understood that forgetting about it will not bring a solution, but forgiving and loving, because there are two things that always happen from our experience. You either get to hate the person, hate the community, and you know radiate more hate, or you come to a place where you forgive, forget, not forget but forgive, and you begin to produce love. So the damage of being set up, it goes a long way. I can't tell you how many people who have committed suicide just because of that. It questions your sexuality, it questions your behavior, it affects your memory, it affects everything about you. Even some family members will find out and they will cut out from you. It destroys the whole entire life that this person has you know made. And out of it, some people no longer see the value for their body anymore. You get it? Some people then begin to see no value to their life and begin to live a very careless, when I mean a very careless life, a very careless life. And most people have become HIV positive because of that one experience. You see how it comes back. Everything comes back to even you who has ketoed, because at the end of the whole day, your brother or your sister may end up being queer. And you can imagine if such a thing comes back to you indirectly, because you who is setting people up might not be a keto, or might be might not be queer, or might be queer, but the effect of what you're doing will still affect the whole society, because at the end of the whole day you will have an increase in depression, you have an increase in prostitution, you have an increase in sexual infections, and that is the truth.
Oh, that is true. That is just the truth. So I would like to ask a follow-up question to you to which is, you are an activist, and we have NGOs over here in Nigeria, a lot of them. I would like to ask from your own perspective, because people say it. I would not say that is my own opinion, but different people have come to me and said NGOs in Nigeria are just a sham. All they care about is just HIV projects, HIV projects, HIV projects, HIV this, HIV that. That is all they care about. They do not care about the ketones. And I told the person, I said, "Oh, are you going to? Is that true?" He said, "Yes." He said, "Ask the NGOs how many ketones have they put behind bars." Yes, they claim to be this keto, they claim to be solving keto issues, but how many of them have they successfully solved? Say no, they do not. They just use it to collect funds from abroad, and they're not facing the real issue. In Yanoiba, they are still running, keto are still running their den there. In Apapa, they are still running their den. In Ikodu, in Igondo, in Ejido, they are still running their den there. So in your own words, I would like to ask, is this true? Have the NGOs in Nigeria, have they failed to tackle this keto issue, or are they doing enough? That's the main question. Do you feel any presence over there in Toronto? You're over there in Toronto. Do you feel any? I know you relate to Nigerians. Do you feel like Nigerians are getting any help from all these NGOs? Like, are you actually feeling the presence of NGO in tackling these keto issues in Nigeria?
To be honest, I can only speak from my own experience because I don't know the NGOs in Nigeria. But for me, when the whole situation happened to me, I didn't even know there was an NGO to talk about. So now hearing that there is an NGO is so amazing, because when I arrived to Toronto, I knew there were a lot of LGBTQ communities which were there and open to talk to you and relate to you. One being Soy and the 519 here in Toronto, which are very open and friendly. And for like what you said their main focus is on HIV. HIV is a very, very important, part, because it affects the whole community. But I feel they can do more than just address HIV, because you can be treating HIV, but what is causing the spread of HIV? So we need to go back to the very beginning, because if 20 people are infected in a month, another 50 is infected in a month, and you keep on treating, you're not tracing how they got this infection, what brought about the spread of the HIV, then I feel you're not doing a job. What you're doing is medicine after death. So I think the NGOs should go back to the main source, is that the people who get keto get raped. And thank God I wasn't raped. You're getting, the people who get ketos get abused, and because of this abuse, it makes them live a very carefree life. So I feel the NGO should not only look at the after effect of the mass, but they should trace the very beginning from where the whole thing starts from, which is also being ketoed, which is enlightening the people about their sexuality, which is enlightening the people about how to go after an issue had gone. Do they have counseling sections where people who have been through such bad experience could go and sit down and feel free? Do they have like a space zone for people to communicate their experiences with one another without being judged? You're getting, so the NGO should do more than just tackle HIV, because even, to be honest, HIV treatment should be done by the health sector, not the NGO. That is why we will still have to go back to the place where the government has failed us. Because if the government had done what they are supposed to do, the NGOs may have focused on something else. Like, to be honest, in Canada, because the health sector is standard and it's well, vast, now the NGOs can focus on other things which affects the community. They will not be the one talking about HIV, they will not be the one talking about therapy, because the government has already put in place structures to address this issue. So I think the NGOs are trying, to be honest. Thank God there is an NGO, but the NGOs also should try to put an extra hand even in a failed system. That is all I can say.
That's a nice one. So Francis, I know you come over here to Nigeria a lot. So do you feel the presence of NGO in keto issues? I know you know a lot of people. You come over here to Nigeria a lot. You've met people. Have NGOs really helped in their cases?
Well, the last experience I had with one of them, if you ask me personally, I would say they're not helping, because most of them, what they do there is just to gossip. Yeah, I'm HIV positive since 2018. And last 2 years, I went back home and I went to one NGO to pick up my medication because I ran out of my pills. And when I went there, like, the way they were acting as if, like, I said, okay, this is not what this place is meant for. They were asking some silly question, which I find it very rude and offensive. So if you ask me, like, the little experience I have with them, I think they're not actually doing their job as NGOs.
Oh wow, are you for real? So I would still like to focus more on that, because see, if I know after this episode, some NGO workers will still attack me or still come after me. And I knew why I asked this. I think very soon I'm still going to do a redo, a second listing of this, and I'll even invite a state actor. But I still want us just to talk as community members. And Francis, I would still like to focus on what you just said. NGOs, whether we like it or not, these people, they get funding from abroad. They get funding. There are people that we can call on. Most of us now, we don't have the funding to do it. Yes, if it was easy, we would all run an NGO project, do something for our community members, but we do not have that funding. We do not have that connection. So I would just like you to, Francis, to buttress more on your point. What can NGOs do to actually make the community members feel like, oh, we are actually like we are feeling your vibe, but we are actually in tune with what you are doing, and we can praise them and recommend them. What do you feel they can do differently? Because there are cases to people complain, the NGO people they go. I've worked for an NGO. Yes, I was not a customer. People said no. NGO social workers in Nigeria, all they do is they gossip, they do this, they don't do that, they don't do their job, they don't do this, they are doing double enrollment, double counting. But what do you feel that they can do better? That community members can feel like, oh yes, we truly trust our NGOs and we truly have an NGO in Nigeria. What do you feel that it can be done, Francis?
For me, I think they should focus on their staffs when it comes to employment, because if you check very well, most of the staffs who works under the NGOs, they're not like they don't belong to any of the LGBT, figure. And in some cases, okay, let me just take for instance, if you're to be like, okay, in Nigeria, like I discovered that I'm HIV positive in Nigeria, I'll find it very difficult to go there to actually open up or even to actually start medication with them, because I feel like the place is not even safe for me to even say what my problem is. Okay, let me just use for example here in Morocco. The NGO here in Morocco is an Islamic country, mind you, it's an Islamic country, but when you go to their NGO, they take care of you, like they make you feel at home and they make you feel safe. That's one thing the Nigerian NGO they should focus on. Like this is a place whereby we can actually feel ourselves, feel this is where we belong, and we can actually feel ourselves completely. And again, they should also when it comes to oh nice now. Um okay, another thing there is this HIV thing, because normally I believe that most of them they just focus on only the HIV thing. When it comes to annual wax, other STD transmitted diseases, they don't do it. And whereby you go there to ask them for inquiries or maybe to ask them for treatment, most of them like go about like, oh, you have to pay this, you have to do that, you have to do. Meanwhile, the government where they receive funds from abroad, they made it okay. When these people come, give them this medication, it's free. But for them, like they're in Nigeria, like they made it very difficult for everybody. Because I have friends when they complain, they'll be like, oh, even the NGO, we don't feel safe with them, kiniko, blah, 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 blah. But then, yeah, it is what it is. Because I believe that if the government is actually helping, and if the government can actually see that, yes, we are not demons, but rather like we are human beings, I think that will actually help too.
That's a nice one. That's a very nice and deep one. I think NGOs in Nigeria, yes, we are not trying to criticize them or trying to, so we are not trying to water them down. We're only giving them constructive criticism to rather improve more on their services. So moving to you, Henry, I would like to ask, now apart from NGOs, let's leave NGOs aside. I as a community member, you as a community member, Francis as a community member, what can we do to actually help victims of keto or that have been ketoed or set up? What can we do? Like, I as a person, what can I do to help? What can you do to help? What can Francis do to help? If we meet somebody that was ketoed, what do we say? What do we do? Do we have to give money? Do we have to help them? So what do we actually do to help victims of keto crisis, we as community members, as individuals?
For me personally, what I can do is I always look from within myself and I ask myself, what do I have? And for me, I feel what I have is I've gone to school and I know how to tell stories. So in any opportunity I have the privilege and opportunity to speak, I tell people what I've been through by telling my own story out to the world. This and the things are what I have experienced. These are the things not to do. So by putting myself out there and telling my story is one way, or rather telling our story is one way in which all of us can help the community to come out from this, you know, um, I was about to say pandemic, or come out from this disaster. That is one way we can do that. Another way is what was I about to say? Another way to help is by putting ourselves out there to console those who are going through, to understand, that is the key word, to understand people's situation. We should stop looking for how to shift the blame on the victims. because like Francis just spoke about having that free space where we can have this conversation. Like if this was not a free space, I don't think maybe 3 years or 5 years ago I would be able to tell the story. You're getting? So creating that free space where we don't be the gossipers of the town, because most of us, the only thing we do is we add injuries into on the nightmare we're already going through by
Mm.
letting out the stories and blaming the victims. We need to understand that these people were the victims. These people are the victims, and we can't blame the victims for the experience they are going through. That is another way. We must understand each other, understand the victims, and always bring forth a helping hand to those who have gone through those times. Another thing we can do is we can educate the community. I don't think we need an NGO to educate each other. We have to unite.
Exactly.
We have to unite. People of color have to unite. LGBTQ members, we have to unite. We need to say no to labels, because what labels do is that it divides us from being together. So this is the time the community needs to look beyond
Yeah.
labels. You're getting, there are situations where people who are lesbians say, "Oh, we are lesbians. We are not, we are not gay. At least I'm bisexual. I'm better." We should stop looking for labels, because I've seen some situation where people say, "Thank God I'm bisexual. At least my own better." We should stop such labels in the community. That is another way to help, because the labeling we have, the shaminess we have, "Oh, this one is feminine, this one is masculine," those toxic masculinity has to stop. We need to stop all forms of labels in the community. We need to realize that if you're masculine or you're feminine, we are LGBTQ members. We are human beings, and we all already have life hard. So don't be the monster in another person's nightmare. Instead, be the angel to help the person ease out from the pain the person is going through. So that is the one way I'll always say we can always help. Another thing is choosing the right words to say at times is very important. Choosing the right words to say. If you don't know what to say, please don't say anything. Because there are instances where people go through this and people begin to say some hurtful things. Choosing the right, if you don't understand the situation, just say, "Dear, I don't understand you, but I will listen." So sometimes we should not speak, we should just listen. So giving a listening ear is another key thing we can do. Just sit down there and stop, "Oh, me too, I've gone through it," and maybe what the person is going through is not even compared to what you've gone through. It's embarrassing. It is very annoying when somebody is giving you a very, very critical situation, and then you are bringing a very, very, less critical situation, and it becomes like an insult. So let us learn how to listen. I feel if we listen to people's story more, we'll become better in our approach to the victims.
So, Francis, I would like to ask you the same question. Like, what can community members do to actually help other community members? Yes, we've talked about the NGOs. You also said the same thing that other people have been telling me too, that NGOs are not doing quite well in Nigeria, that they are doing well, but they are not doing enough. They are doing their work, but they need to do enough. They need to do more. So we as community members, how can we help other community members? You just came out. You said two things, that you've been ketoed, and you are also like HIV positive, and you are a very strong person, very happy person, and I would love to support you as a person. Other people would love to support you as a person. How can we support people that are keto, or other community members that are going through different crises in their life, especially keto issues? How can we support them?
Firstly, I would say let's stop the comparison. Let's stop comparing Mr. A to B, and let's learn how to be competent with what we have. Because I believe that if we want to help each other, we need to appreciate each other as well. And whereby we engage ourselves in creative skills or learning a trade, I don't think we'll have that much time to look for hookups and look for who to meet and then end up getting killed and all that. So I believe like us carrying each other. If you have a friend and then your friend wants to learn what you want to do, let's not have that greed that, okay, what if he or she learns this and then outshine me? Let's just know that, okay, it's just unity. You get it? So yeah.
So I would like to ask Henry. There was something Francis said, and I would like to pick on that word. Thank God
Yeah.
he said it, and I remember the thing. A friend of mine also told me the same thing. He said, "See, people that are ketoed, number one, what he said, he wants to be fair, but 80% of them, they don't have something doing." And I said, "How can you say that?" He said, "See, if you have something doing, if you are engaged, you have less time to be moving from pillar to post, to be looking for
Uh-huh.
dick to be jumping up and down to." Because I know, like, the person was ketoed 4 times in a year. That was in 2020, when there is a lockdown. There was lockdown all over the world, including Nigeria. But it's still a lot of getting ketoed 4 times. That means we're moving up and down to different people. He said, but see, that kind of person was engaged. If people that were ketoed were engaged with something or doing something, you have like a trade you are learning, or you are going to work and you are working, say you will not have the time to go up and down to get ketoed. Do you actually agree with this, Henry? That people that get ketoed, or most people, let's not say everybody, most people that get ketoed, they don't have something to do, they are not engaged in doing something. If they engage in doing something, maybe they engage in their studies or engage in a work, a trade or something, they will not have so much free time to go about meeting different people and getting ketoed.
For me, to be very precise, I would say no, I don't agree with that statement at all because, like, here they are the victims, and we don't want to blame the victims for being victimized. It's just like saying a lady being raped or a guy being raped is because she wears a mini skirt. If she had worn a longer skirt, she wouldn't be raped. That's the same scenario we are saying here. No, even if they were, even if they had nothing doing and all they had was free time and they wanted to, go everywhere, that still doesn't mean they should be humiliated in such a way. But to the point you're trying to get at, which is engaging yourself in something, it is very advisable that if you're an LGBTQ member, you should understand that the community has a lot to strive for. So try to encourage yourself in learning a skill, try to get something to do. But that statement that because you don't have a skill, they are ketoed, I really, really, truly don't agree with that statement because most of us do have a skill. Most of us do invest in a relationship, and having a relationship is a lot of time, talk, communication, talk, and putting effort and energy into such relationship, and people still get ketoed. So it is just an unfortunate event that can happen to anybody. Because I myself, when I was ketoed, I was president of, I don't want to mention it, but I was president of so many youth groups. I had school, not just one school, but two schools. But I still made hard time to have this relationship, trying to find a balance between my duties and also my feelings and my humanity. You're getting? So sometimes we get lonely when we want a hug. It's not my computer skills or my camera skill that will give me a night hug or a conversation. No matter how you engage yourself in something, you still need that human feeling, and that is what drives some people, and that's how they get ketoed.
Hmm. That's a good one. So, Francis, I would love to ask you this question too. It would not, I want us to really talk about it. Converting people. There's conversion therapy, and then the LGBTQI community have their own converting therapy, where they try to convert a straight guy to become queer. I don't understand, Francis. I'm still trying to digest that thing. So I would like to ask, is this not also a bedrock for some people being keto? Because I know a particular guy that was beaten to a pulp. He went to a party. Let me just quickly share the story. He went to a party. It was like a party for all these Yahoo boys, and straight guys were there. And then the straight guy was like very
Mm-hmm.
high, very, very high. And the straight guy lied down on the bed. And because he has been eyeing that straight guy, then he just said, okay, he wants to try and convert him now. Then he brought out his dick and was sucking it. And while he was sucking it, one of the friends came and met him there. And that was how they gave this guy the beating of his life. You know, the other friend was still unconscious, so he did not know what was happening. It was the next day when they told him. He said he wants to wait this. They had to beg him, they have beat him now, and they dealt with him. Like, you know what? He said no, he still has to deal with him. This is just one case out of many cases. many Nigerians, LGBTQI community members, especially, I'm sorry to say, the MSM, which is the men, they are the ones that do it the most. They will just miss when they say a fine guy, even at your place, they can just see a fine, it might even be your brother or your cousin. I'm saying they like this guy. They wish the guy can pound them. They wish they can have the guy for a night. They wish I can have this person. They will try this person. They will say everybody can be like what they always say. The slang they say now. They say spaghetti is straight until it actually gets wet. So they will say that nobody is straight to, everybody can be converted, everybody can be made to get queer. You just have to spend more money, you just have to try harder. Francis, do you feel like this, there are some community members, those that try this kind of thing, they deserve to be kitoed, or they actually get what is coming to them?
Well, for me personally, I don't think converting somebody who is not in the league, in the cycle, it's advisable. For me, I don't do it personally, but then I've been a victim of that. Like somebody who wants to take it as an advantage, like, okay, let me just share the story. Okay, I had this friend of mine, he's from Liberia actually. So he was posted in my city and he was meant to do his licence professionnel. That's I think licence professionnel. I don't know how to explain it in English. So he wanted to stay in my place for a week before he moved into his own apartment. So yeah, in the process of him staying in my place, I think he noticed that, yeah, like I'm into guys. But mind you, I was not into him actually. I had nothing to do with him. I didn't even find him that attractive from the start. So one night he woke me up and was like, that he wants to discuss something with me. I'm like, okay, I'm all ears. He was like, yeah, that he feels like, okay, he can stay with me, that I feel lonely, especially at night and it's winter and all those shit. I'm like, what is he trying to say? He was like, he's not straight, but then he can actually use what he has to, to keep me going, to make me to stop feeling, lonely. So I was like, he should stop beating around the bush and tell me what he wants to, what he wants. So he was like, okay, why not we do this? That actually he's straight, but then he feels like, okay, why not he sleeps with me and then stays with me and I pay the rent and everything. Like I had to digest it for a while. Like I'm like, really, nigga? Like what the fuck? So we kept on living together for some period of time and it happened that, yeah, we did something. Like, yeah, we had something. And then after that, this dude was like, putting more pressure that, okay, just because he did this, that means I have to fix the bill, I have to do this and all that. Mind you, he claims that he's straight actually. So he was not making it like look stupid because, okay, just simply because I'm gay, that means, okay, because we're having sex, that means I should pay for his bills, I should pay for his feeding and everything. So I couldn't take it any longer. I asked him to leave my place and then he left. Then when he left, he went about spreading rumor that he came to my place and I forced him to bed. Meanwhile, he was the one that initiated it from the first place. So my advice is this. I think we as gay men, as as LGBT people, I think we should have self-discipline and we should know what we want in terms of converting. Yeah, I have straight guys that I'm crushing on, but then the fact that I see like, okay, these people don't understand, like, or they don't feel what I feel. So I find it very difficult even making that approach in the first place. You get it? So I feel like with self-discipline and us knowing what we want, I think we can actually overcome the whole not converting somebody and then trying to convert someone.
So Henry, I would like to move to you now.
Yes,
The com- uh, the community members, that is a new trend. They will tell you that they hate the word convert. Some will say I don't like the word converting, that I'm helping them discover themselves and they want to help the straight person to discover himself. So what would you like to react to that? Do you feel like they actually get what is coming to them, those that are trying to convert people? Because I always ask them a question, that can they convert a queer person from being queer to being straight if it was easy? So the same way you don't like or you wouldn't like to be converted for as a queer guy to being straight. So why are you trying to do the same thing on straight people, trying to convert a straight person to being queer? Don't you feel like this is one of the things that triggers this keto and setup? Because I know a particular guy that ketoes people online, and he said it that the reason why he does that, gay people try to recruit their children. They are trying to recruit people to come and join them. They are just nothing but recruiters. They are pedophiles. I know that this is Because of these people that keep doing this converting stuff, they are the ones giving the community members a bad name. So do you feel like they actually get what is coming to them?
First and foremost, we can always look for a reason to hate or instigate hate for any reason. So, um, getting what they deserve, I don't know what that truly means. But what I would say is, you said it all. Just the same way I don't want no one compressing their ideas and philosophy. Just the same way I want my freedom. That is the same way another person wants their freedom. And that is why sometimes when I look into how the LGBTQ community is imposing themselves on some people who don't accept our lifestyle, I feel it is wrong. I feel we should get to the point of realizing that everyone has the right to believe what they want to believe. But the drawing line or the line of division should be that whatever you believe should not hurt the next person. So you can believe or do whatever you want to do, but once it gets to the point where what you believe is going to affect me or is going to affect the next person, that is where we draw the line and say this is a no. So from those community members who are trying to convert people, first and foremost, being LGBTQ, has it become a cult? That is my first question. Is this a secret cult, or is this now become a sexual cult that we need to recruit member? And these are the things that make people wonder if they actually want their children to be queer. These are the things that make parents scared when their kids open up to them and say, I am queer, because of the things they see the LGBTQ members do. You're getting? This is so wrong. Like trying to convert someone who is straight to being queer. How does it work? Because we understand that being homosexual is in the DNA. You're getting? And since it's from the DNA, it means someone who is straight is created to be straight or born that way, and someone who is gay is born that way. So saying you're helping someone to discover themselves is still coming to the first thing I talked about, coming to love themselves, coming to actualize who they truly are. People are doing all these things just because they have been in a place of hurt. And this is what being in the place of hurt can do. We are addressing or we are taking matters the wrong way. Until we come to the place where we begin to love each other, then love will cover a multitude of many sins. That is all I can say. Please, please let us not try to impose our lifestyle on anyone. Whoever is queer will be queer, and whoever is not queer is not queer. So there is nothing like being straight and yet having sexual, you know, feelings or desires with men. Then if you're straight and being gay at the same time, then what it just brings a place of confusion, to be honest. Because when I hear this kind of things, it just makes me wonder if most of our members really know what being LGBTQ means. And this is where
Brilliant.
education and enlightenment has to come in. That is all I can say, to be honest.
That is nice. So final question, Francis, keto
Mhm.
and setups in Nigeria. How can we put an end to it?
Mm, Firstly, I would say we should try and I would advise people out there to learn how to keep a small circle of friends, and also know how to to try to make a background checkup, because definitely like our community is just a very small community. Like this person, definitely another person knows that person. So if you get in touch with someone, don't feel shy, and maybe don't feel somehow asking question, oh, do you know this person? Try to make background checkup and all that. And again, if you're going to visit someone or hook up with someone, try to meet in an open place, a restaurant, where you know that okay, even if something bad is going to happen, definitely is in an open place. It's not like I see if you're coming there to just have sex or something, because most of these people that set people up, they just see it and say, okay, you're just coming for the sex. That's just how they see it. So yeah, I think with these three factors, I think we can actually overcome keto and setups.
Okay, that's very nice. That's nice. So, Henry, the same question, the final question. Ketos and setup in Nigeria. How can we put an end to it?
Like Francis just said, information is key. I think we should invest our time in setting resources that helps to stop this. the show we're having right now is one of the way we could stop it, because like hearing the stories of people who have been cheated. So instead of us just making the community look as if it's just a sex oriented community, like we rightfully discussed. Let us engage ourselves to build resources that help us. Let us stop waiting for NGOs to figure out what is right and what is wrong. If you know how to make a website, why don't you make a website for the community? Why don't you make a database where, a community TV or a community billboard where people can, go and get informations. Tell your stories. If you've been ketoed before, let there be a resource where people could tell their stories and people could go there and, research about the stories and where. If you know key places, key locations where all these operations are happening, information is key. Let us build an information database where people, community members, which is safe, which it will be safe, where community members can go and make research. Please, please make research in every movement you're making. And again, I feel you should ask yourself two questions before you go out. Is this what going for? Is this what my life? If it's what your life, then okay. Have I taken the appropriate measures before I go out? So before you go out, have you laid aside your expensive gadget? Don't go going for, to meet someone you don't know and you're taking all your expensive possessions with you. Take off your blinks. Look a little bit normal. No, sorry. Look a little bit normal is the word, right? Look a little bit normal or plain, so that when you go there, you look just plain, and all you have there is just information. The third thing I would say, when before going out, these were the three things I thought about. Did you tell anybody where you're going to? Have you told your friends? Have you communicated your location? Do you have a tracker on you? We should create an app where we can be able to track where we are going through. So if something happens to us, somebody can say, oh, this now where my friend they go, this now where the house you go, this now the board where you see where my friend they. If there is no database for tracking people's movement and knowing where they are, we will we will always end up with the end result. So creating a resource where community members can make appropriate research and have information, key information to help their movement is one. Informing others where you're going to is the second keyword. Dropping your expensive gadgets is the third thing. So take these security measures before you ever think of indulging in a trip. And the final thing, always tell your story. It is very, very important. When you tell your story, somebody will hear your story and say,
Mm,
that's not the place where they go, make I no go again.
mm. And I love that part of always tell your story. And I would like to also add that when people tell their story, LGBTQI community members should listen. I know people who have complained about Iyanoiba many times, but LGBTQI community members fail to listen. They always say that don't ever go there to visit anybody. Don't even try it. That place is like a dead zone. But people still go there. Everywhere is almost a setup in that place. Iyanoiba, Apapa, Mazamaza, First Start. It should be very, very. Make sure that you know this person, like you know the person inside and out. That is one thing. And they should also always travel light. I think both of you have said it. They should travel light. Carry only what you need. Don't go and carry your expensive phone, expensive gadget. Buy one small phone and carry, and hold one small change in case they catch you, maybe 2,000 or 3,000, just to pay yourself. Don't hold your ATM. Don't carry the SIM that has your PIN in it or your account number in it. Carry something that is light, and just hold light money. And in case they want to collect money, at least they collect only 2,000 or 3,000, and they should confirm if that person is real from people. Do a video call, confirm, share the person's picture to people in that location. Before somebody wants to have fun outside his location, he must have been having fun from inside his own location. People must know you. If you say you stay at Aja and nobody knows you at Aja, that means you are obviously fake. So people should be able to confirm that you actually real. And I think we've just basically said it all. We've said it all. Community members should just try to listen more and share their stories. So thank you guys for coming on the show. It was really deep. Time has it's funny how time flies.
Can I just add something before we leave? Sorry.
Yeah, you can just add something.
Just something I just remember that clicked into my memory was that one of the people who were there in my own scene was an officer. So most of these keto people are working with security operatives That is what gives them the boldness to do the things they do. So please be very careful in your trip, because sometimes you may be trusting this security operative to come to your rescue, but one of the two friends of the person I went to meet claimed to be an officer of some sort. So that is one thing that gives them this boldness to continue to do the things. And if you go to River State, around that community, I made my research later, the whole community itself, element to be precise, are all full of keto. It is a set ground, like the whole community itself is involved. That is one thing I came to realize.
That is true, though. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can hear
Yeah,
you.
sure. I can hear
Yeah,
you.
I said that is true though, because I remember in my own case too, there was this mobile policeman here, and there was a vigilante there too. So I think in my own case too, it's true. They actually work with. But you know the funny thing is that even I think there was a particular man that I was speaking to. He said because at his area, that was I just remember the story too. At his area too in Ikotun, Kito was building up. So he went to the Ikotun police station because he's a rich man. And he said he was working with the Ikotun police station and he was trying to like arrest Keto people because he too has actually been set up. So he vowed that he was going to use his money to fight these Keto people. But he said that he got to a particular stage, the policemen were getting tired. But he said, is it every time their community members get Keto? Now what are they looking for up and down? Because it was always like every week he must bring at least 2 or 3, sometimes 6 or 5 cases of Keto. So the policeman said, don't they have jobs? That even heterosexual people don't have sex this much. That they're always having sex every time, now every time they go, their ass no dey tire, abi their dick no dey tire. The policeman that he works with. So he said that it was becoming tiring because the policemen they were no longer interested. He said every time it was becoming something of. So I don't know, Sha. It is still a very deep topic, but I think we've all given good points in general. So it's been really nice.
And can I add something?
Oh, you can add just
Yeah, and
okay.
sometimes when you're going to meet up someone, I think it's also advisable to choose the location. Even though, okay, maybe the person is living, let's take for instance, the person is living in Abuja and then the person gives you their location and everything. You can actually browse for a restaurant or maybe a supermarket or more. Actually meet up with the person, meeting somebody for the first time in an open place and then trying to see, because definitely if the person have an ulterior motive, definitely from his movement, you can actually read that, yes, your instinct can tell you that something is not right. And from there, you can actually dismiss it and you can actually just come up with an excuse and be like, oh, you're going, or maybe you have something to do. And that way, one can escape keto and setups.
That's nice. We've all given nice points, yeah. That is really nice. So thank you guys for coming on Curio Talks. Chimezere, Abi. Let me be sure I pronounce it well.
Chimereze.
Chi? Oh,
Chimere.
Chimereze.
Yes.
Thank you. Chimereze. I had to be sure I pronounce that well. Chimereze Henry, a documentary filmmaker, a minister, a human rights activist. Thank you for coming on Curio Talks.
God bless you.
And Istrate Francis, a writer, a chef, and a runway coach. Thank you for coming on Curator. So, thank you guys, and thank you everyone for watching. So, click on the subscribe button to watch more videos because we're going to be doing this every week, giving you hot topics back to back. So, thank you very much, and to the next episode. Bye.
Welcome.